Day one and 8 stages. There were due to be only 6, but roadworks have forced the organisers to split stages 2 and 6 into 2. Still 150 kilometres are some of the most heart-stopping stages in the world. Tranquility, but not for long. The residents of Calderadi were given a loud and early alarm call by Stage 1 of the San Remo Rally. As championship leader, Colin McRae was first off the mark. Unlike gravel, where the first car is at a disadvantage cleaning the road, on tarmac, there's no such disadvantage. But before the rally, McRae had feared the competitiveness of his Focus. With a long wheelbase and a heavy front end, it doesn't turn in as well as the shorter cars. But McRae's talent on tarmac dragged the car through to 7th fastest time. This the moment of truth for Tommy Mäkinen, the first stage for his new Mitsubishi World Rally car. No excuses now. But from the outside, all looked well. But inside, it soon became clear that a transmission problem was making the car very hard to drive. 11th fastest time, a very public disaster for the new car. Next up, Richard Burns. Like McRae on Pirellis, not a tyre that filled its users with a lot of confidence, so Burns took very few risks. On board, he's driving clearly well within his and the car's limits. But then again, sometimes it's better to drive at 100% than 95. Without warning, 4 kilometres into the rally, the Subaru had flicked off the road and into the trees. Burns looked more shaken by the lack of explanation than by the crash itself.
Yeah, I'm okay.
News quickly reached the Subaru service area. But luckily, even though the car was in tatters, Burns and Robert Reid were intact.
I wasn't pushing hard, just taking things relatively easy, and the note was correct as well. Just turned into the corner, slid a little bit coming into the corner, but nothing unusual. But then it didn't regain any grip in the middle part of the corner, and we just slid off on the outside.
With Burns' car clear off the road, the rally continued. Carlos Sainz next through Calderodi. He reckoned his Ford was better than in Catalonia, but maybe not fast enough to fight for first. Armin Schwartz in the Skoda, but an alternator problem was forcing the engine to cough and splutter. And finally expire on the road section after stage 1. An unhappy return to the championship for Skoda. But if the regulars were in trouble, the tarmac experts quickly revelled in their love of the mountain roads. 2000 winner Gilles Pinizzi was fastest, despite not being happy with the handling of his Peugeot. Fast too, at least at the start of the stage, was Philippe Bulgalski in the lead Citroën. But right at the end of the stage, the road bit back. Bulgalski had clipped the wall at the entrance to a tunnel, flipping him back to crunch the front too and stalling him for almost half a minute. Hyundai's only real hope here rode with Piero Liatti. But it's been a while since he raced in the World Rally Championship, and it showed. Watch the barrier on the right. Liatti kisses it, but it whacks him in the face, slapping him back at the cliff on the opposite side. On the way to stage 2, the drivers had to use the motorways, even having to pay the tolls like everyone else. Stage 2 had been planned as a mammoth 45-kilometre section, but these roadworks meant that the stage was split into stage 2 and 2B. Colin McRae knew after stage one that he was not on the pace of the French cars or even his teammate Sainz. The problem was his transmission. It meant his wheels started locking up. As he climbs the hill, watch here as he almost slides into the barrier, losing time. Tommy Mäkinen also had trouble with his transmission, but his woes were caused by an electrical glitch. But the result was the same, lack of traction. Both championship leaders had lost over half a minute in 3 stages. Marcus Grönholm never used to like tarmac, but 2 years at Peugeot has turned him into a formidable talent on the stuff. But he thought he could do better than third. Brake fade affecting his confidence and making him clip the rear of his car on a wall. Didier Auriol also clipped his bodywork, but with no damage. He was still complaining, though, about being made to use a 5-speed gearbox. With a 6-speed, he reckoned he could have been fighting for the lead. But Auriol was still pushing, hopeful of a repeat of his win on the last tarmac rally in Spain. Inside his helmet, Panizzi was fuming. He'd opted for an electronic active anti-roll bar, and instead of making the car handle better, it was doing the opposite. He'd ordered his team to prepare a new one at the next service. Even with the problems, he was fastest on stage 2B. Bulgalski sported the scars of stage 1. Mechanically, his car was fine, but aerodynamically, the Citroën was performing less than perfectly. Amazingly, then, he was second fastest on stage 2. At least Jesus Puras's car had all its bodywork. He won stage 2, but a severe vibration from a front tyre lost him time on stage 2B.